The coronavirus is wreaking havoc all across the world, and it shows no signs of slowing down. But how is that going to affect film festivals? If you've been paying attention to the news at all recently, you've heard of a little thing called the coronavirus, a flu-like virus that attacks the respiratory system. The spread of the virus has had wide-ranging effects. Italy just announced that it is closing all of its schools for a month, and this follows Japan doing a very similar thing. The US Federal Reserve Board is dropping interest rates in the hopes of staving off economic collapse. Airlines are canceling flights to China. Hell, China closed down an entire city in the hopes of containing this thing. All of this has led to a number of questions about large public events and whether or not they should be allowed to happen. The greatest concern here is, of course, human life and preserving it. And shutting down these major events makes a lot of sense if that is the goal. If you remove opportunities for the virus to spread, it will move more slowly, or hopefully, it'll stop spreading altogether. That would be real keen. As an example, Japan is considering postponing or maybe canceling or moving the 2020 Summer Olympics in order to help stop the spread of the virus. The Olympics, of course, are a huge international event that brings a ton of people from all over the world to Japan, and they're a hot zone right now, and that's the last thing that we need. We being humanity. But this is not a sports channel, this is a film channel, and that's why we are going to be talking about how the coronavirus could potentially impact a number of film festivals, chiefly South by Southwest, because it is the next big one to happen in the United States. Just a quick note, in this video I am not going to be talking about how the new James Bond film, No Time to Die, had its release pushed to November due to the coronavirus. I'm going to be doing that on the Weekly News Wrap-Up live stream that happens every Sunday, so make sure to get subscribed and get notified so you don't miss it when I go live. Initially, I was going to make a video talking about what films I think you should see at South by Southwest, but as it got closer and closer to actually filming this video, that seemed to be like less of a good idea. South by Southwest has become a major flashpoint for concern in regards to the coronavirus because it is a major film and music festival that draws in a huge audience of people from all over the world. And when you're trying to contain a contagious virus, you don't want a lot of people just congregating together in closed-in spaces. This is also happening at a time when the virus is now starting to spread through America. And in a week, when South by Southwest happens, we don't actually know how much it will have spread by then. It could be literally everywhere, and an event the size of South by Southwest could at that time be very ill-advised. There has already been fallout for South by Southwest because of the coronavirus. Companies like Twitter and Facebook and Vivo and Intel, they've just dropped out completely. They're not even going. And on the film festival side of things, you have companies like Apple, Netflix, and Amazon just pulling out of the festival altogether and pulling their films out of the festival as well. That is a big hit for the festival. They still have films, they still have a good deal of films, but nonetheless, it's still a hit to the festival. It's also another reason why I didn't make the films to watch at South by Southwest, because in the lead up to the festival, I actually don't know how many of their scheduled films will actually show. So now you're getting this video instead. Despite all of this, organizers of South by Southwest have declared that they are going ahead with the festival, and that was as of March 5th. Representatives for South by Southwest argued that everyone's going to Austin for South by Southwest anyways, so just canceling the event would be a bad idea because it would take away the overarching structure of the event that could help control things. And that's bad logic. If you have an event and you cancel it, people typically don't still go to the event. They stay home or they go other places. They get refunds through travel insurance. Things like this exist. Another interesting take about South by Southwest going ahead as planned came from Judge Sarah Eckhart, who is a judge that presides over the area that South by Southwest is in, which is Austin, Texas. She said, and I quote, "People should do what our mother taught us. Let's cover our sneezes, let's wash our hands, and let's be good neighbors." Adding, "Keep calm and carry on, y'all, and remember what your mama taught ya." And that's good advice. All of those things are things that people should do when faced with an outbreak like the coronavirus, but at the same time, not everyone is going to do this, and there are 400,000 people that go to South by Southwest every year. So if even a few of them don't do it and the virus gets passed around, that could mean South by Southwest could be the epicenter of an outbreak in the southern United States, and then there are just so many people at that festival from all over the world. It's just a bad idea. It doesn't matter what your mama taught you. Just don't go. At the time of this video's release, South by Southwest is exactly 1 week away, so there is still a chance that all of these officials are going to change their mind and actually cancel the festival. And personally, I kind of hope that they do. If you have tickets to South by Southwest and you're still thinking of going, I would strongly urge you to think long and hard about that decision. And then if you do end up going, just make sure you have all the Purell in the world with you. Like, come with buckets of the stuff. I also want to stress that this doesn't just affect South by Southwest. There are tons of film festivals all over the world that are going to have to look very seriously as to whether or not they should postpone. The Cannes Film Festival is a little over 2 months away, and right now France has 377 reported cases of people with the coronavirus, and those are just confirmed cases. Cannes officials released a statement on March 5th saying that the festival, as of right now, will be going ahead as scheduled. That also includes the marketplace that happens at the same time as Cannes, where a lot of films and TV shows get bought and sold. But at the same time, they also announced that MIP TV, which I believe is another marketplace for television that was scheduled for March 30th and goes until April 2nd, that actually got canceled. So it seems like they're okay with canceling things, and this might end up actually happening for Cannes. It's also been reported that the government of France has extended their ban on gatherings over 5,000 people until May 31st. And since Cannes takes place in mid-May, you would think that they would be banned from operating based on this. But Cannes officials have said that none of their events actually have 5,000 people at them at one time, so they're technically exempt from it, which is true. But I feel like in this situation, maybe you shouldn't be splitting hairs on the thing that's meant to stop the spread of a deadly virus. Maybe. Cannes, you've seen Contagion. You know how this goes. There are other film festivals that are a bit further into the calendar year that also must consider the coronavirus and its effects. The Venice International Film Festival, as an example, happens in late August, and it is, as the name would suggest, located in Italy, which is right now a coronavirus hot zone. So you would think that they, at the very least, are definitely thinking about postponing this, because you can't just have people flying into a hot zone to watch movies. Like, I know we all love movies, but I don't know if I would fly somewhere where I had a good chance of getting an infectious disease. The Toronto International Film Festival is another one. It takes place in early September. It's the largest film festival in all of North America, and it is a very international-oriented festival. It brings in people from all over the world, and it brings in business people from all over the world. And once again, I feel like they really have to be considering their options at this point. The Telluride International Film Festival is another one. It's the festival that happens in between Venice and TIFF, and it makes up the big three at the beginning of festival season, or really awards season. And as we know right now, things are not going great for containment of the virus in America. And if the virus really takes hold, I can only imagine that that festival will be another one in jeopardy. We should probably also talk about Tribeca, the New York film festival that focuses on independent cinema. It happens in a month and a half. They must also be thinking about the implications of the coronavirus. And as an aside to that, I just want to let you guys know that I have emailed various film festivals about their response to the coronavirus and how they are approaching it right now. I haven't heard back from any of them yet, but when I do, I'll be sure to update you either in the live stream on Sundays or on Twitter as well. The handle is somewhere on this screen. You can find it. You know where to look. You're clever. It's also worth mentioning that in many places all around the world, there is some kind of international film festival, a big cultural event. The Sydney International Film Festival, as an example, comes right after Cannes, and that is another one that can pull in a very diverse crowd. There's also Locarno and the Sarajevo Film Festival, and the film festivals in Latin America and South America, the other film festivals all throughout Europe. It could just end up being that all of these get canceled because it's too much of a risk to have that many people going to one place and essentially sitting in a shared room in a stadium of sorts, a mini stadium, I guess, and watching a bunch of films. I don't know what the alternative is, aside from canceling them, but I feel like we are going to start hearing about a lot of film festivals being canceled. And these fears are not without warrant. We've already seen examples of countries going specifically after film viewing, film watching, as a way of containing the coronavirus. China, as an example, shut down 70,000 screens inside their border so that they could help stop the spread of the coronavirus. This is the most extreme example we've seen in terms of trying to curb people's behavior and keeping them away from public places that has to do with film viewing. But that doesn't mean that other countries will start to follow suit. As I mentioned off the top of this video, Japan closed its schools, and then Italy closed its schools. People and countries and governments are going to be looking at other countries to see what they do in order to contain this virus and follow suit. It's sad to say, but we have to admit that the experience of going to a movie theater and watching a film is a communal experience. And those are the kinds of environments that this kind of virus thrives in. And so when it comes to governments doing what they have to do in order to stop the spread, I can see going to the movies being one of the first things that gets blocked or banned or frowned upon very heavily. Before all that happens, I feel like it's going to be the film festivals that get hit first. They are going to be encouraged to shut down, even though they are a huge part of the economic calendar for a lot of places. I believe when I was reading an article today about South by Southwest, the article talked about how that festival brings in something like $350 million to the city of Austin. And that's nothing to sneeze at. Well, I mean, it is something to sneeze at. That's a bad joke. I should cut that out. There is one other consideration I just want to mention, and that is if these major film festivals, the TIFFs and the Tellurides and the Venices, if they get canceled, that fundamentally reshapes award season and how we actually start it and get into it. A lot of people say that award season doesn't start until the People's Choice Award at TIFF gets announced. And if that award doesn't get announced, then we're going to have to look to other places for that information. But that's a topic for another video. For the meantime, I think we just need to keep an eye out on things, wash our hands as they tell us, do what your mama told you, as the judge in Austin told us, and just do your best to not spread this virus around, but to also continue to enjoy films in a safe manner. That's really the best thing that you can be doing, so I implore you to do just that. With all that said, please let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I imagine you enjoyed this video on your couch because people aren't really going outside anymore, at least they're afraid to. But don't worry, I'll continue to give you this wonderful content, even in the face of a coronavirus outbreak. But until that happens and until it's actually a pandemic, have a good weekend if you can, and cheers.